Evening beeps, good evening everyone. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, like, share, subscribe. We are back. We're back, peeps. I'm excited to be back as well. It's been a minute. We haven't done videos for a couple of months. I needed a break. I needed to press that pause button. The back end of last year was so busy for me. And mentally, I was like, I just can't do it all. I just couldn't do it all. So I thought, you know what? Let's just chill on the YouTube for a little bit turned into a long bit. So I do apologize, but we are now back full time. We are going to go back to the old school adage of video after video after video. I promise you, I ain't playing no games for 2024. Happy New Year as well to all of you. I was going to come back and talk about AJ Ngannou when that fight was announced, but I was in South Africa. I just got back from South Africa today. I went to Ghana for a little bit and then Ghana to South Africa. And whilst in South Africa, I was like, you know what? We need to get back to the fucking green chair. We need to. So much has happened. I've missed so much. I mean, Artur Davis's defeat. I was going to talk about that just because it wasn't just that it was a bad defeat for Artur, which obviously it was, and hopefully he gets right back in the mix. It was a bad defeat for British boxing. I've got a lot of American fans that reached out to me like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. But who knows? We could get a big win on the weekend. We are going to talk about Beterbiev versus Callum Smith. Don't you worry. That is coming up as well. I've got so many plans. I write things down, ideas for the channel, what I want to do in 2024. I don't really want to do this all the time, although I will. I do want to go back to sitting down and interviewing people, not just from the world of boxing, from other spaces as well, but we'll see. But you know what? This is my bread and butter, and we're going to keep this going until the wheels fall off or until I don't know, have to press pause again, which hopefully isn't anytime soon. You know what? Let's get straight to it. Let's see what there is to talk about today. Let's start with this one. Teofimo Lopez, every fighter that Crawford has faced throughout the 147 division has been injured. That's not true, but I mean, the one that stands out is probably Benavidez. He had a leg injury. I think we all knew that going into the fight. Did he not wear leg support in the fight? I think everyone's maybe thinking Kelbrook had the eye injury. Look, ultimately, most fighters go into the ring with some form of injury. I mean, I've been lucky enough to go into a few camps and watch what these fighters do and what they put their bodies through. And I mean, I'd say more fighters go into the ring injured than go into the ring 100%. That's what I would say. It's not Crawford's fight. So it's not Crawford's problem or Crawford's issue that he's fighting people that are maybe carrying things into the ring. Crawford himself could be carrying things into the ring. Like I doubt Crawford's 100% all the time. If Teofimo Lopez is using this as some sort of call out to bait Terence Crawford, then good on him. I like it, right? A champion at 140 calling out another champion at 147. And if you look at what Terence Crawford's got in front of him right now, he's obviously not going to fight Errol Spence anytime soon because of the injury. I don't think the Jamel Charlo fight's going to happen. Why not? Why not? I mean, I think people would watch it. I think it would be a fun fight. I think Terence Crawford would win, but I love this confidence from Teofimo Lopez. He wants a big fight. He wants a big money fight. And for him, this is a big money fight. I don't know how much of the casual boxing fans would be very interested in it, but I think the hardcore boxing fans would say, okay. I mean, again, this is a Teofimo that's coming off a really good win against Josh Taylor. His confidence is high. He thinks he's a pound for pound fighter. I mean, he could and maybe should be the number one 140 pounder. You know, I think it was between him and Regis. With Regis losing to Devon, I think Devon probably goes to number 2, and I think Teofimo is number 1. So I have no problem with the number 1 140 pound fighter who is a big 140 guy calling out the number 1 at 147. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Eddie Hearn, Callum Johnson had Beterbiev all over the place. Smith, sharper, smarter, hits harder. All right, let's talk about this. We might, and I will announce it tomorrow, do a live watch along. We might do a live watch along of this fight. If we don't do a live watch along, we will definitely do a Sunday session live. That's how much we are back. Anyway, let's talk about this fight. Artur Beterbiev, the unified 175 pound champion, takes on the former ring recognized number 1 at 168, Callum Smith, who looks a lot more aggressive, looks a lot better under Buddy McGurk, and looks a lot better at the higher weight class. I will say this, I've kind of been away from the boxing landscape, but I do, you know, dip my toes in now and again. And I feel that the majority of people I'm seeing on Twitter are picking Callum Smith. And I'm like, has something happened that I'm not aware of? Before we talk about that, a few months ago, I think I tweeted my dream fights for 2024, and Bivol versus Beterbiev was one of my 4. I think I can't remember the other 4. I think I might have done AJ Wilder, which isn't going to happen. Gervonta Tank. I can't remember the other one, but Beterbiev Bivol was one of them. You know how many people got upset with me saying I want to see Beterbiev Bivol? Bear in mind, that's an undisputed fight because Callum Smith's fighting him. Like, they found it quite disrespectful that I had overlooked Callum. I hadn't overlooked Callum. I think Callum's got a great chance. Just for the last 4 or 5 years, I wanted to see number 1 versus number 2, and that happened to have been Beterbiev versus Bivol. Don't take offense at it. It was just my opinion. Anyway, back to this fight. I don't know what's happened, but people seem to really, really be favouring a Callum Smith upset here. And I must have missed something. Again, I just said it. Callum Smith looked really good under Buddy McGirt. Looked really aggressive. Looks very strong at the weight. But has Beterbiev slipped in some way, shape or form? Have I missed it? Is it the fact that Yard caught him a couple of times? Yard's a good fighter, strong 175 pounder. Is that the problem? Because I look at it and correct me if I'm wrong, but I look at it and I think this is a guy that's had 20 fights, 20 wins, 20 knockouts. What's the slippage? What's the slippage? Yeah, he gets hurt, he gets up and fucks you up. Yeah, he gets hurt, he gets back on the ropes, fucks you up. Like, I've not seen slippage. This isn't like when I saw clear slippage with age and wear and tear on Golovkin when Golovkin fought Derevyanchenko. And I was like, oh, we have a problem here. When Golovkin couldn't be dented, couldn't be hurt, and all of a sudden, you started to see it against Danny Jacobs and Derevyanchenko, and then Murata hurt him a lot to the body. I have not seen that with Beterbiev. So yes, people will point out to me his age. I get it, but I'm not going on age. I'm going on the eye test. I haven't seen slippage yet. I've seen a guy that can still knock you out with both hands, a guy that is still very aggressive, a guy that has a jab, which is basically a power shot. Still looks very, very good to me. And the one thing I have seen with Callum Smith is Callum Smith is able to dictate fights, and he does it very, very well when he's the aggressor. When he's the aggressor, I don't think Beterbiev is going to allow him to be the aggressor. In the fights where we've seen maybe Callum struggle a little bit, Canelo, obviously, he lost when he wasn't the aggressor and was bullied back. And I think we also saw a bit of John Ryder. So 2 fighters that have maybe made him fight on the back foot, where I think Callum maybe isn't as good as he is on the front foot, have, I think, both beat him. Now, as good as I think Callum is, I don't think Callum is going to be able to push Beterbiev back like the way he's been bullying these other guys at 175. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Again, Yard, look, they're all big 175ers, but Yard's a big 175er. And even Yard, after a few rounds, realised that he couldn't bully and push this guy back. He couldn't. Another thing that's been very interesting is, obviously, look, we know Beterbiev has had his injuries of recent, right? I mean, you only have to watch what this guy does in training to realise that body's going to get injured, right? He puts his body through it. But there's been this weird narrative about activity. I mean, if you look at the last 4 or 5 years, it's actually Beterbiev who's been more active than Callum Smith. This isn't Callum Smith's fault, but Callum Smith didn't fight last year. I say it isn't his fault because you're supposed to fight Beterbiev, remember, in August. So Callum Smith didn't fight last year, 2023. Callum Smith only had 1 fight in 2022, 1 fight in 2021, 1 fight in 2020. So he's not been busy either. Beterbiev's not been as busy. I mean, he had 1 fight last year, obviously the Yard, and he had 1 fight in 2022, 1 fight in 2021, 1 fight in 2020. So, like, what I'm trying to get at here is both of these guys have been kind of inactive. None of these guys are giving us 2-3 fights a year. They're not doing it, but they're fighting. They're fighting. So look, it's going to be, I think it's going to be an interesting one. I expect Beterbiev to win. I think Beterbiev will win, but it wouldn't be a big surprise if Callum Smith can get this done based on what we've seen from Callum recently. But I think Beterbiev is too strong. I think he's a big 175. I think he desperately, and maybe this is the danger here, desperately wants the Bivol fight. That's the carrot that's been dangled in front of him, right? Bivol, I think, has signed his part of the contract. And I do think we are going to get that fight in 2024. Who do I want to win? I mean, I do think us Brits, and you know, I'm a Brit, I do think us Brits need a big away performance. Again, it's not happened recently. I mean, think of some of the fighters that we've sent over, like, and they were favourites going into those fights. You know, I think Josh Taylor was favourite against Teofimo Lopez. Fury was certainly favourite against Ngannou. Artur Davis was favourite against Ismael Barroso. So we can go on and on and on. We haven't had that really good away performance. Hopefully, Callum Smith can do that. But I do think Beterbiev's going to win. I want Callum to win. I like Callum. I like the brothers. I think Beterbiev will win. And I think we're going to get Beterbiev Bivol. That's just my take on it. I think Beterbiev still has a lot to offer. Gervonta Davis is the real deal, says Aram. Ready to make Tank versus Stevenson, Lomachenko and Lopez fights. That's interesting. Gervonta Davis is the real deal, says Aram. I read somewhere about this PBC Amazon deal stalling a little bit. Like the guy that made it, who worked for Amazon, who helped Al Heyman make the deal, has left. So I do wonder what's going on here. I wonder if Bob knows something that we know, or we don't know, sorry, and is trying to say, okay, maybe somehow we can steal Gervonta Davis from under PBC's nose. Who knows, right? I don't know. As for the fights, and obviously, look, these are good fights. Who wouldn't want to see all of these fights? I mean, again, I had in my 2024 list Tank versus Shakur Stevenson. I mean, Tank versus Loma. I think Tank would fight Loma now, especially if Loma comes through the Cambosos fight. So there are big fights out there for him. But look, we'll see how it all plays out. De La Hoya on Saudi Arabia. If Riyadh is going to offer something crazy, you have to think about it. Yeah, let's talk about some of the stuff that they've done recently that is crazy. There is a press conference on Monday, which obviously I will be at for AJ versus Ngannou. I think I'm doing a face-off with those two, which I'm not prepped for, but we will get ready for it. And I'm doing a sit-down interview with Ngannou as well. Massive, that fight, isn't it? It's massive. And you know what? When I remember speaking to AJ about this, I was like, and I asked him, I said, look, did Ngannou's performance over Fury add another name to, you know, fighters you want to fight? And he was very much at the time kind of like, for entertainment purposes, yes, but from a tough fight, not really. I think that was his kind of take on it. This will be a tough fight, I think. I don't think this will be easy. I think Ngannou will come into the ring with so much confidence after that Fury fight. He'll be ready for this one, Ngannou. He'll be ready. I think AJ should and will beat him. You just never know. I mean, they're as big as each other. Both of them can hit. I think it'll be a better Ngannou. There must have been some apprehension from Ngannou. Obviously, look, he done well in that Tyson Fury fight. Some still think he won, but there must have been some apprehension of, okay, this is my proper first boxing match. Now he's had that. He's done the walk. He's fought the best boxer out there in the heavyweight division, and done well. I mean, he'll be thinking, oh, give me anyone else. Give me anyone. And well done to him. You know, he's secured another big, massive payday. For those people that laughed and said, what's he doing not signing this UFC contract? All of a sudden, he got, what, I think 10 million for Fury, maybe a bit more on top when the pay-per-view came in, and he's going to get, I heard, 20 million for AJ. Man has just secured 30 million. 30 million. And that's just base. That isn't all the other extras that come with these type of fights. All the sponsors that chuck in a bit as well. Well done to him, man. Well done to him. Rolly Romero, non-committal on Ismael Barroso rematch. Yeah, that's because I think the Ryan Garcia fight's going to happen. Now, there was a lot of talk about Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. That fight looked like it was going to get done. I was hearing it was going to get done. All of a sudden, looks like Ryan wants to go the Rolly route. If I'm Ryan, I know some people are upset about this. I'd go the Rolly route. Rolly's an easier fight than Devin Haney. Go that route for now, and then let's see. Because if we're brutally honest, there was still some things in that fight that Ryan did in his last fight that against Oscar Duarte which weren't great. That Shana shoulder roll thing, not for me. Not for me at all. That was his first fight as well with with Derek James. Maybe one more with Derek. Get in sync a bit, and then you can take on Devin, who is a pound for pounder. It's a good fighter. So as much as, yes, we want to see the fight, is Ryan really ready for Devin? I'd say no. I'd say have the Rolly fight, see where you are, and then maybe fight Devin. And have the Rolly fight at 140. Not 142, not 143 like the Oscar Duarte fight. Have it at 140. see how you are, then go on to Devon. What else have we got? Deontay Wilder's manager, a fight with Zhang would rival Joshua Ngannou. No, it wouldn't. It would be a big fight, don't get me wrong, but it wouldn't rival Joshua Ngannou. It's a fight Wilder needs. Like if Wilder wants to get straight back in there, then Wilder certainly needs a big name. Zhang is, what's he, top 4, top 3? Some people have him heavyweight. Then yeah, that's what you need. Don't know though, man. After watching Wilder against Joseph Parker, you'd have to favour Zhang. I mean, you can only go on what have you done for me lately. Zhang stopped the Terminator, the Juggernaut in Joe Joyce twice, whereas Wilder looked like a shell of himself. Looked like his brother in the ring against Joseph Parker. So yeah, I mean, look, who wouldn't want to see that? It's a great one. And for Zhang as well, he deserves an opportunity to be on a big card, make some good money. Martin Bakoli, I feel like, is on the outside looking in. He somehow needs to get dragged into this. Terence Crawford lashes out at Teofimo Lopez. You don't even look my way, you a pussy. That's what he said. Okay. Well, I mean, again, I feel like Terence should be happy people are calling him out, because right now, what's the big fight for Terence? Terence had for me the fight of the year, right? In terms of, for me, was the fighter of the year. I know Inoue kind of won it, and all of a sudden, nothing. Crickets. We're not hearing anything. You've gone from that incredible fight to so be happy people calling you out. There's no problem with that. No problem at all. Bakoli felt Tyson Fury didn't train at his best for Ngannou fight. I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing that nonsense. I interviewed him. All of a sudden, he was like, "Yeah, I'm at my best." Now it's like he wasn't at his best. He was at his best. Artur Davis. If I can't compete with the best, then I'm washed up. Next fight I'd like is Ramirez Prograis in early May. You're not going to get those fights. He's not going to get those fights. It's just that simple. I don't know what to make of that defeat, man. You know, sometimes you say you get caught cold, right? You hear the phrase all the time, but it's almost too easy to say that. You know, it's too easy to say that. Like, you only have to look at Barroso's record. Yes, people are talking about he's 40 and he's old. Look at his record. He can punch. He's a puncher. That's what he can do. He's a puncher. He can grind you down. Be prepared for that. Why try and swing with a puncher? What are we doing? The first round, this is your big out in America. The first couple of rounds, for me, are just feel out rounds. Just kind of get used to it. Get used to the crowd. Maybe even get used to the different canvas. Just get used to it. And then, this guy tried to fucking go straight in, hit a home run from the first punch and got knocked out. I don't know, man. I don't know. That was Artur Davis. It's not okay. I'm not trying to say he needs to completely rebuild, but you can't go from getting knocked out like that. You know, if Artur Davis was a massive name in America, fair. But you can't go from getting knocked out like that to then 31. He's going to have a couple. Even Oscar was really sending him. Oscar was like, you know, superstar, we've got, blah, blah, and then, again, Oscar's gone quiet on him now as well. Oh my God, we've not even spoke about this. This is probably the biggest news. Hopefully you guys are still watching. This is the biggest news of recent times. Virgil Ortiz's stoppage win. So Tony Weeks, I need to find that fucking tweet. I want to read this proper. Tony Weeks, 1 second. Tony Weeks tweeted something that the boxer, okay, I think I might have found it. Because everyone, including myself, was like, Tony Weeks needs to be suspended. That's a disgraceful stoppage. But then Tony Weeks tweeted something that the boxer in question, that Frederick Lawson, like had some sort of brain issue. I need to find it. Okay. Oh, this is it. What the public didn't know, that prior to that fight, they did a brain scan on him and it came up that he had an aneurysm. And they did a test again and the same aneurysm came up. Another doctor was brought in and gave him the same examination and he tested negative for the aneurysm, so they cleared him to fight. I'm sorry, that's a disgrace. That's a disgrace. That's a fucking disgrace, innit? Everyone should be fired. But you can understand how Tony Weeks, look, there's two things here. Tony Weeks should have either pulled himself from the fight, said, no, I'm not refereeing that. I'm not reffing that. I'm not doing it. Tony Weeks is a big name. It's not like if Tony Weeks says he's not refereeing, he never gets a job again. Tony Weeks will say, I'm not reffing. But if Tony Weeks then went into the ring, you could understand seeing a kid get hit once, you're like, fuck that. I'm not taking the risk. I'm not taking a risk. Something happening on my watch. I'm stopping the fight. It's bad on everyone's part, but I mean, the third doctor that they brought in who cleared him, boxing. That doctor there needs to be fucking thrown in jail. Philip Hergovich, I heard that Joseph Parker wants to fight me in March. I accept your offer, Joe. Obviously, this is now for the undercard. AJ, he's fighting now. I do wonder, back to the Beterbiev, probably not, but back to Beterbiev Bivol. If Beterbiev comes through that fight, nah, he ain't fighting that. He can't fight 8th of March, can he? 3 months. See, it depends how that fight plays out. If it's a blowout, then yeah, like early, but I doubt it's going to be early. Yeah, what else have we got? Gabe Rosado believes that Terence Crawford should fight Jaron Ennis. So much has happened since I've gone. I've noticed that there's been this beef between Baumgardner and Clarissa Shields. Like, where's that come from? I'm all for it. Both of them need a big name to fight, right? I mean, Baumgardner, before the drug test, looked like she was on the collision course with Amanda Serrano. That hasn't happened. Obviously, Michaela Myers fighting Tasha Jonas. Is she going to try and jump up and get in that mix? Call out the GOAT. Call out the GOAT. If they can somehow get that fight to, I don't know, where everyone is semi-comfortable, 147 maybe, then why not? Why not? All right. Look, we are back. There's no point me rushing trying to get everything in this video. We are back, people. Don't worry. So we'll do a video tomorrow looking at some more stories. But yeah, I think I'm off to America soon to cover a couple of boxing shows in January and February. And then obviously, then what? What am I doing after that? I think maybe Saudi. Oh yeah, we'll be Saudi for Fury Usyk, and then some football, and then some other stuff that I gotta tell you guys about. Peace and love.